What is going on, everybody? Little camera glitch there. I am a little sleepy, dude. I spent the last 3 days putting together a massive playground set for my kids in the backyard. That's why I didn't have time. That's why I didn't have time to do it last night. The stream, that is. That and having a newborn, it's been a busy weekend. But anyway, sorry for the yawn. Gosh, I gotta stop doing that, man. I'm just tired. Bad Dog by Ashley Pollard. I really wanted to go past the, page range this week, but stay disciplined. Such a good spot. So, I guess we'll get into it. So it's pages 164 through 214. Hammertron, I see you down there. What's up, dude? The playground, Hammertron asks, what does the new playground have on it? It's got a twirly slide. You know what? Take a picture. See if it'll pull up. It's got a regular slide. It's got a pole. It's got swings. Third story. Let's see here. I don't know if... Can you see that? Kinda. The third story is... Is it so bright? There we go. Yeah, it's got the watchtower. It's got a little telescope on the third floor there. I'm sure my neighbors are going to love that. What's up, Burn Enough? Dude, it had 111 steps. Yeah, it took me 3 or 4 days to build it all by myself. I mean, the first day my buddy came and helped out, but after that, I was riding solo. Yeah, it's cool, man. I wish I was small enough to use it because it looks freaking rad. But anyway, yeah, page 164 starts out chapter 22. Plasma pulse cannon, not yet, but that's on the list. Chapter Deuce. Where am I at here? Yeah, so basically this is going to be... Chapter 22 starts off at the beginning of one of the days. This is day 3 for her that she's going into repeating the same day. And that's Sergeant Tachikoma, Laura Tachikoma, and her fellow Marines. It kind of just opens up. I guess it doesn't open up from her waking up. That was in the last chapter. This chapter, it's still day 3, but it opens up with her and her squad arriving back at the cave where they go in and they find the pillars. So, she tries once again to save them. This time, once again, she prevents an ambush. I'm just going to hit the key points real quick. They kill all the fatties. So she does a little bit different. She doesn't actually go, when they get to the chamber with the pillars, she doesn't actually stay there this time. She's kind of we got to get in and get out as fast as possible before this mountain blows up on us. So they go in and, she allows them to experience being paralyzed because when the portal activates, everybody but her gets paralyzed. And at this point, she doesn't know it, but we learn a little bit later. Basically in the last chapter, no, not the last chapter. The last chapter with her, in this range of pages, as to why she's not freezing. But we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, she basically waits, allows the Marines to experience the paralysis, and she's like, okay, let's get out of here. And they manage to reach their rally point back with the rest of their squad leader, and they convince Captain Johansson to get out, and with nothing more than he's like, why do we need to run? And she's like, oh, just a gut feeling. And because she's had so much success in at the briefings when she has she gives really good suggestions, and they're like, why are you suggesting this? You know something we don't? And she's like, no, just a gut feeling. And yeah, I don't know. So Johansson basically seeing that her gut feelings have paid off with detecting the ambush, he's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to keep listening to your gut. And they start running down the mountain. And they manage to get pretty far, but not far enough. The nuke goes off. They all die. Repeat. So that's basically the summary of chapter 22. But let's delve a little deeper, shall we? This chapter delves a little bit more into the sense that despite her changing her actions, things mostly stay the same. Things here and there change, things people say alter a little bit. But she's kind of left with the feeling that she needs to figure out how to change enough, to do enough things differently that it actually has a effect on the outcome of that day. So hopefully not everybody dies. Yeah, she also, on day 3 here, she tries to take more of an effort not to put forth an idea that she knows is actually somebody else's idea. Because 1, she kind of feels guilty about it. And 2, she doesn't want to like get the rep of like always having the answer in the event that she is successful and the day goes forward, because then she's not going to have the answer, because she's not going to have the advantage of having repeating the day so many times. So she's trying to like kind of pull back on that a little bit at this point, because yeah, she doesn't want to, in the event that she lives to the next day, now have this reputation of being a know-it-all and like super intuitive, because that's going to be hard to live up to. Yeah, she's very cognizant of, she's like thinks through all the little individual things that she does differently from one day to the next, and like what effects those have, what changes those create, and what changes they don't create, like what things stay the same. And she's really like struggling to figure out like, what can I do? Like what is significant, what's not significant, and what should I do to change things? I don't know. It's a real mind effort, dude. Like, I mean, not for the reader. It's fun for the reader, but for her, like, you can feel like as the character, like, that's a lot of things to try and figure out to like make sure you and all your friends don't die a horrible nuclear death. Certain situations, like when she's like repeating orders that she's already given, it feels like really tedious to her. But then, like, she does it anyway because 1, she knows that her people aren't mind readers, and she wants to make sure that like they survive. So I don't know. It was just just like a single line. But I just like all these little pieces that Ashley puts in her story. It kind of flavors it. I don't know. I thought that was a good point, because that would be like, it'd be one of those things where like you have to do it, but it's super monotonous. Like, oh God, I have to do this again. But at the same time, there's a lot of gravity and importance to doing that task over and over and over again. Yeah, there's a lot going on with the idea of no matter what you do, things are kind of set in stone. At least so far that she's seen. And she's trying to do minute changes, right? She's still going on the mission. She's just trying to figure out what she can do differently. But even her having this knowledge that she has, we see on day 3 here when she goes in to basically surprise the Chinese who are laying an ambush for her and her Marines. On day 2, I think it was day 2. Day 2, she slipped and fell in her suit. And again, even though she knew that she slipped in that spot on day 2, she slipped again on day 3. So it's just, that's like an interesting little detail of, even though she knows what's going to happen, like it's like time and fate or whatever is so hard to change that even someone aware of it still kind of falls into the same patterns. Interesting. Yeah, so on day 1, Knight and McCarthy died. On did I say day 2? Day 1, Knight and McCarthy died. Day 2, McCarthy died, and Knight was knocked unconscious from an injury, and his dog suit, whatever, lost a leg. Now on day 3, after they surprise the Chinese laying ambush, Knight dies, and McCarthy is knocked unconscious. McCarthy loses an arm. So it's like similar but different, and it's all these little tiny things, and she's trying all these things, and all these outcomes are changing, but not really. It's like the amount of times we as we go forward, we see these things repeat in different ways. I think Ashley does a really good job of, building I don't know what the word you want to use her, the threads of fate or whatever, and like how like different choices and different timelines are still kind of interconnected. She does a great job with all these different outcomes and different actions, the slightest little things here and there. And then like in the beginning when she built up all that repetition to kind of play into this theme, the whole Groundhog's Day thing, as I've said before in my other streams, this book is, sorry about that. Okay. That was a text message. I'm in big trouble. Yeah, the Grim Reaper has his schedule. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's very Final Destination, dude. No matter what, you're gonna get got. I think you said Burn Enough. You were reading this book. Did you already finish it? I haven't finished it yet. I'm sticking to my schedule, so no spoilers. Where was I at? What was I saying? I got interrupted with that text message. Another one. Whoops. Sorry about that. Yeah, so all this, as far as Laura goes, she's just constantly mulling this over in her head, like, why is Knight or McCarthy dying or not dying? One's getting injured. How does that work? I don't know. That's what she says, but like, it's just another thing that she has to wrestle with and try and figure out. This one also we see, because she knows what's going to happen, and she's kind of like amped up in like high energy. Nice, dude. Yeah, anyone who's not Burn Enough, go check out his YouTube channel, because he finished this book and he's going to do a review on it. Sounds like he's uploading that tomorrow, so go check it out. But anyway, yeah, because she's so like on the ball and like very eager to save everybody, they arrive to the Pillars on, I lost track of what day I'm on, day 3, ahead of schedule. And like I said in the opening here, she goes in. She doesn't go in the portal this time. She's just like, get the machines, get the pace suits that are here, scrub fatties, whatever. Let everyone experience the paralysis. She does note that she's like, oh, isn't it weird that you can still talk to me even though you're frozen? So I don't know if that's going to come back into play. It probably will, because it seems significant. I'm interested to see what that's all about. And so far up to this point, we seem to, like, each new day, she seems to push how far she can kind of, like, her Marines will believe, or like not how far they will believe her, but like how much she can get away with. So each day she does a little bit more, like, so far, like, oh, we should try this, and we should try this, and let's do this. And they're like, why? Oh, because I have a gut feeling. And it seems so far, as she does it like incrementally, she's seen what's working. So far, nothing hasn't worked as far as her attempting to kind of get a hold of the situation. But yeah, it seems like she keeps pushing the envelope and in an effort to save her people, and herself. Yeah, it leaves me kind of wondering, like, is she at some point just going to come out and, like, just admit, like, yeah, you guys, I'm reliving this day over and over again, and we're all going to die. I don't know. I do know something happens a little later in one of the next chapters, which I'll get to in a second. But anyway, this chapter ends, as I said, she's ahead of schedule, so she manages to get back to the rally point before Johansson and everyone else is dead, and convinces him to retreat, like, full sprint, get out of there. But unfortunately, it doesn't work. They don't get far enough away before the bomb goes off, and they all die. Reset. Now we're on to day 4. She's back in her bunk, wouldn't you know it, on the Hornet. And then she's kind of, every time she comes back, she kind of does like a self-reflection. So in this one, she kind of reflects on how quickly her, like, the human mind can kind of adapt to a new way of thinking. which is an interesting point because I do think that at least like a logical, reasonable person that was subjected to an experience like this probably would probably at a similar pace that she, maybe the first time it happened, you're like, oh, that was a weird dream. And then as it slowly unfolds, you're like, okay, this is really weird. And then quickly, I feel like most logical human beings would kind of get with the program and be like, okay, something's going on. I need to figure this out. I have this advantage, and I'm going to try and change the day. So yeah, I do agree with Laura there. I think we would adapt to that. She still keeps wondering why she's the only one. It's a real mystery. And I think we'll see in the next chapter what it is. I'm not going to spoil it, dude. Even though I'm going to talk about it on the stream. And this is a whole spoiler stream anyway. Yeah, she starts to think like she's pretty confident whatever's going on has to do with the bomb. Because every time the bomb goes off, her day repeats regardless. Because day 2, she wasn't even in Afghanistan. But when the bomb went off, she went back. So it's either that she thinks that it has something to do with the bomb. I personally think it has something to do with her being attached to the pillar. So the bomb obviously going off maybe has some effect on the pillar that brings her back. That's my guess. Yeah, we keep seeing, again, she's kind of reflecting on her dad. She doesn't like the idea. She kind of wakes up like kind of happy because she's not dead, pissed that she died again, and she remembers the pain. She kind of like feels like crying, but she hates crying. It reminds her of the time her dad died. Again, she's kind of reminisces on her dad a few times about some of the sayings that he had. Like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was basically, if you think you're going through a hard time, your hard time is not comparable to someone else's hard time. Something like that. There's always a harder. Yeah, Hammertron with the pillars. I'm kind of, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe it's like a technology thing, and not magical. But I guess I don't know. I mean, it seems to have like some kind of scientifically explainable physiological impact on humans. And the reason that she's not affected, as we'll get into like in the next chapter, is it seems like it's actually because of a genetic trait. Yeah. Magic is just science that we don't understand yet, right? But yeah, anyway, a lot of reminiscing on her daddy. Yeah, at this point she's getting like really, really worn down. Not with like, I mean, obviously with dying over and over again, but with this huge scope of not knowing, like, there's so many things throughout her day that she can change. She doesn't know what matters, what doesn't matter. It's very exhausting for her. She's getting very weary of trying to figure out what it is that she should do, what it is that she should not do, in order to try and change this outcome. She's getting a little ragged, and it kind of puts her like in this autopilot sense. In this, on day 4 here, she's just like, oh God, like in a daze. I just want to get through this. So she still tries to do like, her suggestions and whatnot. And by the end of the chapter, she kind of gets this feeling like she forgot to do something, but she mentions that like there's so much monotony and repetition to repeating the same day over and over again that she's starting to like not be able to remember, like, did she do it, or is that from another day? And basically, I'll jump back in a second here, but she forgets to mention that they should land closer to the objective, and when they land, that's day 4. When they land, that's the opening of the book, as far as I can tell. They land and they die. It doesn't go well, and I think it's because it's not exact. So they do land, but the Thunderhawks don't go back the same way they did on day 1. They go like a different route, and I think they fly over the artillery, and so the artillery just starts firing and kills everybody. Let's see here. So to go back a little bit in the chapter, after the brief, she gets again called to Captain Johansson's office, And this time, there's a little bit of a difference. And it seems like Mr. Anderson of the CIA is maybe wondering if he mentions her nightmares or whatever, her deja vu. And then it seems like he's trying to hint at, like, what do you think's under the mountain? Like, maybe he's wondering if maybe this is possible, which I don't remember reading that in his chapter where he was in that intel brief, but maybe he is aware that this is maybe something that could possibly happen with the portals and certain people. And he's getting the vibe that since he knows what's under the mountain, and there might actually be a chance that there's this person that interacts with the pillars in this way. So he's curious, like, is this sergeant repeating this day? Is it going to be a failure? I don't know. Because we haven't seen his POV since day one, the first time everybody died. And he felt super guilty about it. Didn't feel good. We also see a little personal stuff here. She kind of regrets not starting a family. And we see that she was afraid to start a family because she was afraid to lose someone because of her father. And she basically made the Marine Corps her family, which, obviously there's a high chance you could lose somebody in that situation. But I don't know, just a nice little. Basically, she's like, if I get out of this, I need to hop on starting a family. I gotta get that going. But anyway, end of the chapter comes and everybody dies because she forgot to do the whole land closer to the, target, whatever. And that's the opening. I'm fairly confident that is. It's not described exactly the same, but it seems like that day 4 is the same as the opening chapter. Then we go to a short little chapter from, again, I don't know how to say his name, Louis. He's the Chinese officer. It's like a 3-page chapter. It's basically just him waiting for the nuke to show up. So there's a nuke, as we've mentioned, that blows the mountain up, but it's like en route, dude. He's like, the Chinese government keeps telling him like every day, it's going to be there tomorrow. And they've been saying that for like the last 10 days or whatever. So he's like, dude, where is this bomb? I can't complete this mission without it. It's like everything is like riding on this. It's the linchpin of the mission, and it's not here. And the American Marines are about to show up. So basically, him waiting around with like another officer, just waiting for the bomb. But like he's also kind of being like introspective. He's thinking about the mission so far, his interaction with the Rangers or the Army Pace units, whatever, the Army Spec Ops team that they already killed and cost him 2 Chinese soldiers, whatever, mech pilots, fatty pilots. And he doesn't really believe that this mission is worth the price that his men are having to pay, even though he's confident that the Chinese government would say it's a worthwhile endeavor. Obviously, they would. I kind of get the vibe from him like that maybe he, I don't know, isn't super pleased with his government, but it is what it is. He just, he's an officer, so he does his job. He also brings up the fact that he figured out what was under the mountain, even though it wasn't part of his mission brief. He has enough connections that he was able to ascertain the nature of the thing that he's trying to keep the Americans from getting or discovering. He also goes over, so like I said, like every time there's a chapter with him, which I've kind of mentioned his chapters in a couple previous streams, he's very, he's contemplative, he's, I guess, meticulous and calculating, and he's kind of going over the fact that, if this plan doesn't work, we have a contingency, and all the contingencies have contingencies, and we've prepared for as many possible alternate plans we could possibly think of, because we don't know what's going to happen. So it's kind of like a nervous kind of feel that he's putting out there. Hammertron, is Louis aware that he is reliving the same day over and over again? As far as I can tell, the only he didn't mention it. It's not mentioned at all in the chapter. As far as I can tell, the only one who's doing it is Laura. And like I said, there was the part in the last chapter where Mr. Anderson from the CIA kind of seemed like, he was like, have you seen the pillars? Do you know what's going on? Like, what's going on with this deja vu? He seemed kind of interested in the nightmares and the deja vu. So I don't know if that's just because he knows the nature of the pillars, or maybe has a memory of it. I don't think he does. But it's hard to say. I think it's just that he's the CIA guy, and he maybe knows more about the pillars than, the grunts. But basically, yeah, with the end of Louis' chapter, he's just chilling there waiting, and he's thinking about all these different plans he has in place, but he knows that his small force cannot do like a long defense against like a determined enemy. So whatever happens, it's got to be quick, and they got to set the bomb off. If the bomb doesn't come up, if the bomb doesn't show on time, then they're all dead. And that's basically just that chapter. It's just his thoughts. Because he doesn't know he's repeating the day, right? So that's what I like about the alternative views. It's like Bob Robert. Okay, is that for real, or how come everyone seems to know like Mandarin and Chinese? Not me though. Yeah, I like all the other, like when we switch to a different POV, because they don't know that they're repeating the days, and it does a cool job of like giving us like the full 360-degree view of this conflict in the midst of the time repetition, the time loops. So, I don't know, it's really cool. I like it. But yeah, that's all for Louis. Chapter 25. She wakes up again, and so this is day 5. And she wakes up crying, like she's just worn out, man. So she wakes up crying. There's another woman in her compartment on the Hornet that's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine," but at the same time, she can't stop crying. So, yeah, the girl's like, "I need to take you to the doctor. Let's go." So she gets her out of bed, and then she kind of describes it like she doesn't even realize. She kind of just, before she knows it, I'm getting out of bed. And goes to the doctor. And the doctor, Dr. Bullock, he kind of like coaxes some things out of her. He's like, "What's going on?" And she tells him, she's like, "Yep, I'm reliving the day, and it's crazy." And at first she doesn't want to. She's like, "You're going to think I'm crazy. This is insane." And he gets her to like, she knows what day it is. She knows where she's at, what ship she's on, what they're doing, what theater they're in, what the mission is. So like, he's like, "Okay, well, you're in your right mind." And he like smacks the wall, like just out of nowhere. And it's really loud, and it kind of like makes her flinch. The internet thingy. And so he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't think you're crazy, but you're showing some symptoms of PTSD." And he goes to like do a test. So he leaves, comes back with this little apparatus. He hooks it up to her, and it basically sends a magnetic pulse through her body that's supposed to prevent her from having voluntary use of her fingers, but she can still move her fingers. So he's like, "Oh, that's weird. You're one of those." And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "There's some people that, I don't know, basically like magnetic stimulation cannot interfere with their ability to do this, right? So she's immune to it." So that kind of gives us the explanation. And then, like I said, it's not that it's like magical. It's just kind of a rare thing for some humans, I guess. But yeah, that's why she doesn't freeze when it comes to the pillars. But anyway, he gives her some sedation, and she passes out, dude. She misses breakfast, the brief. She misses the mission. But she's like so like hopped up on drugs that she doesn't even like. She knows, but she's like, "I should feel more scared about this or like terrified, but whatever, happy pills." Yeah, she's a mutant. Yeah. But yeah, so she misses the briefing. And the next, like, basically the rest of the chapters for this page range are just like the scattered, it's like alternating views of her squad going on this mission without her and getting annihilated, just really bad. But like in a cool way where they like put up a good fight, like stand like in a ring and like, back to back, laying down, killing mofos. One of the girls, Lieutenant Beckford, like her suit's pretty effed. She can barely move it, but her gun still works. So she like hops down on the ground. She's too far away to help. She's like up on this ridge, and like her squad gets wiped out. And she didn't want to shoot down in and hit a fatty when they were so close to her teammates, because obviously she could hit them. But when they all die, she's like, F this, I'm getting payback, dude. And she just starts sniping these mofos. And the fatties, so we've only seen the fatties underground, and they're not that impressive. They kind of get their asses kicked all the time. But apparently they can fly. And as waddly as they are on the ground, apparently they're very agile when they're flying around. So she's like, they can't quite see her because she's laying down. So she's like popping a few on the ground, and they start flying up. They're sending fire her way, but they don't know where she's at. Eventually they find her, they see her, they start coming in at her. And she takes them all out, except, so there's 2 left, and she has like 1 bullet left, and basically like a double kill shot. The one she kills her, and then there's 1 survivor of the fatties. So cool freaking, and it's a short chapter too. Like all these chapters with these alternating POVs of her squad, very short. She actually is very effective at using short chapters to kick ass. Yeah. To build some good energy, to paint vivid scenes, even with like a ton of action. Like it feels like a lot of stuff happens, and you're like, that was like 3 pages. So it's crazy, dude. She's so good at that. But yeah, Lieutenant Beckford goes out like a boss, dude. And that's basically where I ended it, and I was like, oh God, I need to keep reading, because I didn't where I stopped reading. The bomb didn't go off, so I'm like, is they're not going to set the bomb off because they killed everybody? Because it's not like we're not going to send more people in. And if the objective is to, stop us from finding the pillars, well, it seems like they still have to blow it up, unless they want to just sit there and guard it forever. So they keep making this. I need to figure out. Don't make fun of me, because I've heard it before, but I cannot remember where it's from, and it seems like it's a common saying. So it's one of those things where it's a gap in my knowledge. But they keep referencing don't start a land war in Asia. I can't remember where that's from, but they keep repeating it in here. So that's another one of those things. I feel like she put that in there. It's going to come up again. Anyway. And they kind of talk about how Afghanistan has been, invaded by like so many empires throughout history. And still it's kind of this like, it's like where empires go to die, right? It's like, what do they call it? The graveyard of empires or whatever. So I think it was a cool choice to use Afghanistan as the setting for this story in this like post World War III Earth with like a new version of the United States and this conflict between China and Russia. Yeah, I've heard that term, like I've heard that line. Like in like movies or something, but I don't know the significance of it. I should say that. But yeah, dude, cool setting for this, like with like the China, like they don't want to like have a full on engagement. Like the Chinese don't even want the Americans to know they're there. So they don't want like that information to like get back, which obviously, I don't know. They're just like, oh yeah, we don't know what's going on, how China be. But yeah, it just adds a little mystique, to the conflict, because it's Afghanistan with all the violent history there. And then I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah. But anyway, that's all I read. That's the 50 pages for this week. I really want to keep reading this. I will, when I finish this, I'm absolutely buying the next 2. This is a sick trilogy, dude. I don't know. I need to ask her if it's a trilogy or if there's just only 3 books out in the series, because I want to know. Yeah, just add it to the list, dude. Trying to get through Galaxy's Edge, Land and Sea. I'm caught up. I'm just, as they come out, I'm just checking them out. Oh, yeah, dude, by the way, anyone who is following Land and Sea, there's been an update with the graphic novel Paradise. The coloring is done, dude. It's out to lettering now. And then after that, I think they do some like graphic design, make sure all the layouts and stuff are good to go. And there should be shipping out in May is the estimated delivery date. So, 2 Moon. Ask about Gaywalker's 2 Moon. Is that... Which... Gaywalkers. Is that book 4 or something? Which book is that? I don't remember the names of the next 2 books. Yeah, it looks like, I think the next books, I think they go off Earth, dude. I'm wondering if that alien's going to come back. This guy right here did. Because we only saw him, or it, for like a couple seconds in like one chapter. So, who knows? Hopefully. I mean, it's on the cover, so I'm hoping it comes back again. But yeah, dude, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, she went to the, like, what a huge change to her day. Like, completely changed things around. She didn't die, and everyone else kind of went in these weird, oh, dude. Again, so I don't think it was, you know how Knight and McCarthy keep dying? I forgot to mention this. What? Okay. Open the book and see it under upcoming. I don't see that, dude. Is it in the afterword? Book 4. So, okay, this is not just a trilogy, dude. Well, I'm going to stay caught up on this series once I get through the 3. Hold on. Let's read about the author real quick, dude. I am a cognitive behavioral therapist with a background in mental health nursing. My working career has ranged far and wide from civil servant to sales assistant. I've written the Battle Mages and Miniature War Games magazines. I've written 4, and I was both a reviewer and columnist for Games Master International. In addition, I was a freelancer for FASA Corps, working on 3055 technical readout. I think FASA, I believe, Hammertron, you told me that's the company that used to own Battletech. And I wrote the OHMU War Machine War Game rules. My current nonfiction writing is a monthly column for Galactic Journey. I've been told I have more interests than most people have dinners, which include cycling, aikido, photography, miniatures wargaming, and painting. I am unashamedly a starry-eyed dreamer. Last page. Bro, I don't see it. Do we have the same copy? I don't know. Yeah, it's probably book 4. I just don't see it on here. Is it just in the afterword? After the glossary, maybe? It's cool that you put a glossary in here for all the acronyms. Oh, this is a dramatis operandi. Is that what it's called? Oh, dramatis personae. Yeah, dude, I don't see it, man. Do you have it on ebook or something? Maybe it's on the ebook. Must be it. Okay, cool, dude. Yeah, that's definitely a series I'm going to have to stay on top of. Like I said, like with Land and Sea, I'm glad I'm caught up on it because, as you know, one book comes out, easy to stay on top of it. Same with this. This book, I don't know what you thought, Burn Enough, but I feel like this reads real fast. I don't know, just kind of real smooth. And then, yeah, once I get all caught up on Galaxy's Edge, that's going to take forever. I don't know if I'm going to get done this year because I try to read other things besides just one book at a time. But, yeah, dude, I should probably go back inside and because my newborn's probably freaking out and making life hard on my wife. So that's all I got for this one. It was hard to stop. Like I said, it was hard to stop reading. I wanted to keep going, but I wanted to keep it in the page range. So, yeah, definitely a fast read, man. You guys have a great night. Thanks for hopping in and hanging out in the chat. And, yeah, hopefully I have a little more energy and I won't yawn so much next Monday. And then I don't know if that's the last one. I have to double check. Or if there's 2 more Mondays. But then after that, I'm going to have Ashley on the stream. So if she's going to be on a, I want to say Sunday morning, like the day before this, I'm pretty sure. But I'll notify y'all when, when I get closer. But have a good night, man. Men. People.